Hello and welcome to the Fulhamish Quick Take. A pretty bleak one today because we're the richest and most educated fan base. We've actually gone for a coffee post-match, which is probably not what you'd be expecting us to be drinking after one of the worst refereeing displays I think any of us have ever seen. The Blues did win 2-0 today against Fulham. It definitely shouldn't have been that way. Let's get into it. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi Sammy, how are you doing?
I can't remember a time I've been this livid about a football match. Not necessarily livid, because there's been times I've been angry at Fulham or disappointed, sad, like the Palace FA Cup game last year. But I can't remember the last time I felt this unjust about a refereeing performance. You mentioned that time in lockdown when there was the Lamina handball and.
Yeah.
But this might have just topped the entire lot today. I genuinely am spitting. It's so unjust what has happened to Fulham today.
Yeah, and I think, we were talking on the way back, rehashing the incident, rehashing the game, and the incident obviously being Josh King's disallowed goal in the first half. A few points to be made. If that goal is given and we go on and still lose the game, then fine. We're not having this conversation with this tone. We'll be having a different conversation. But that was the point at which the game hinged. That is the point at which the game changed. And there's just no way that this game, there's no other talking point apart from that, to be honest, because of what happened. And we can talk all we want about how these refereeing decisions shake out and stuff. But this is just one today where it just absolutely has not. And we have both got Chelsea mates who have messaged us to say it is unjust. Neutrals everywhere is saying that goal shouldn't have been disallowed. So why on the pitch, not even on the pitch, why did they have to go to a VAR booth to disallow it? Yeah, I feel really sad, honestly. I feel really upset. This could have been such an amazing, emotional day and incredible moment for one of our own. And instead, this is what we're talking about after the game.
I mean, I think part of my anger is because, it ultimately led to Fulham losing a match of football. But maybe the biggest chunk of my anger is about Josh King. He's an 18-year-old on his third start for Fulham. He has scored his first ever senior goal, and it's been disallowed. And don't forget, he not only scored his first senior goal, he did it at the home of our rivals, most intense rivals.
Yeah.
And he sat down our former player in order to do it. It was an iconic goal, a brilliant finish. And it's been disallowed, not for something Josh King did, for something Rodrigo Muniz did, maybe 10 seconds beforehand, near the halfway line, and it's not even a foul. Trevor Chalobah puts his foot underneath Rodrigo's, especially when you watch it slow down, you may be like, oh, maybe there's some contact. In real time, no one saw it. No one saw this. And poor old Josh King, we just watched the interview that he did on TNT Sports afterwards, and he's trying to make the best of it, and he's trying to say, it's football and these things happen. But you can tell right deep down he's gutted, and hopefully he does great things in his career that more than make up for this moment. But that's a moment that he would remember for the rest of his life. That's a core memory. And we've disallowed it for what? For nothing.
And I think there will undoubtedly be some Chelsea fans in the comments gloating about this result. And listen, fair play, whatever. And the other goals we'll come on to, the two Chelsea goals. But do you think football is at its best when decisions like that happen? Do you really think this is good for the Premier League and good for the game? I don't see any way that you can argue that, and I think that is why I'm so upset today. It's not a foul by Muniz. It's not at all a foul by Muniz. It's Chalobah, I believe, who puts his foot under Rodrigo Muniz. And the referee didn't see it on the pitch. It is not clear and obvious. It is overturned. And then the language of the referee, Robert Jones, is so insulting on the pitch. A careless challenge, what does that even mean? It feels, and we are not going to have the conversation about whether VAR should be scrapped because that's not what we do. But, it feels like in this moment VAR are trying to find any reason to disallow a goal. The language of it is so clumsy. I thought this was meant to make the game more precise. I thought this was meant to make the game better, and it feels like at the moment it's doing exactly the opposite, specifically today.
Yeah, look, if there was an offside or if there was a genuine foul in there, it would be disappointing for Josh, but you would accept it. But there was nothing even remotely a foul about it. I genuinely, I mean, after that point, Elizabeth, everyone's heads had gone. Our heads had gone.
Oh my God, Sammy. Yeah, our heads had massively gone.
But the Fulham players' heads had gone as well. Marcus Silva was losing it on the touchline. It was almost like the match was decided in that moment. And although, look, it took poor defending from a corner and a dodgy penalty to win it for Chelsea, and Fulham did have some moments after that, it was the game in a nutshell right there. It decided the entire match.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I think some Fulham fans will, I think, slightly ungenerously suggest that like it's on the players then to keep their heads after that decision goes against us. But I just don't know how you could. I don't know how any psychologist could teach you how to keep your head in that moment, considering what happened. And you're right. I mean, we'll come on to the first goal just quickly. Don't say that much about it. Corner, sloppy from us. João Pedro on the end of it, right at the stroke of half time. And like, our half time was absolutely spitting feathers because I just thought we've played better. Chelsea have been poor in the first half. We've scored a goal, and yet somehow we are going into the break 1-0 down.
Yeah. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Like, we can sing 2-0 to the referee, and boy, we did. But, like, the first goal's terrible marking from a corner.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, we and obviously it's becoming a bit alarming, our defending from corners. Obviously, last week against United, we conceded one. Yes, maybe it could have been a foul, but also we conceded a penalty from a corner as well. Again, was it a penalty? I don't know, but it is a bit alarming. It almost feels like the zonal system. And also we'd had a couple of warning shots on the corner front as well. Tosin probably should have scored, and it was only moments after the Josh King thing as well. So I mean, if that happened, I think everyone would have actually been on Pluto or whatever planets just exist slightly beyond Pluto.
The 25-26 season is shaping up to be a big one for Fulham, and one thing you need ahead of it is NordVPN, the fastest VPN on the planet that allows you to watch football matches from wherever you are in the world on either your phone, your tablet, or your laptop. For instance, you could use NordVPN to watch Premier League matches for a fraction of the price, including those 3 p.m. kickoffs that aren't available in this country. Or if you go on holiday this summer, you can use NordVPN to access your UK TV subscriptions. And right now, you can use NordVPN on up to 10 devices, which means you can share the amazing benefits that NordVPN has with your family or your friends. And you can get a great deal when you sign up to NordVPN at nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. Not only will you get a huge discount, but you'll also get 4 months extra as well. And it's entirely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So to get that special discount plus 4 free months, go to nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. That's nordvpn.com/Fulhamish.
Look, then the penalty.
Yeah.
Obviously, we haven't had the real benefit of properly watching it back and having a time to analyse it. I mean, there's almost 3 things here. One, Sessegnon's kind of... I don't think he's made his body that much bigger, in my opinion. But 2, the handball from João Pedro before Sessegnon's and the foul on Alex Iwobi. I don't understand how we're looking for minuscule moments to disallow Josh King's goal. But yet, those minuscule reasons before a penalty's awarded, they're fine. That didn't impact the play.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like today VAR is looking for a reason to get involved, and like that's, that's how I felt from the back of the away end at Chelsea. It is just a total lack of consistency. We spoke about it after Brighton. Like with Brighton, I thought the penalty that we gave away was a penalty if soft. We also should have got a penalty that was a bit soft. With Man United, we gave away another penalty. Again, it's this new rule. Like in the EFL, there have been loads of those penalties given away for grappling. It's something that the PGMOL is going to clamp down on. Fine, it was funny because it was missed. Whatever. I mean, concerning that we've given away 3 penalties in 3 games, but it feels just like that shouldn't have been a penalty today. If the same stringent, strict logic that was attributed to ruling out the goal was attributed to that penalty, it would never have been a penalty. So again, like I thought Chelsea were brighter in the second half because I thought Fulham really lost their heads and their momentum and their energy. But that goal, yeah, I don't think that should have been a penalty.
It's game state, isn't it? You know, it annoys me when sometimes, you know, you'll see stupid comments after the game from people, well, yeah, Chelsea would have won 2-1. No, you wouldn't. You might have, but it would have been a completely different game.
And we would have felt fine. Like, we would have got over it, and it would have been really gutting and disappointing, but I think, like, the injustice is what we're so disappointed and upset about today.
The thing is, and I know you didn't want, we don't need to have a massive existential chat about VAR, but there's something...
If we do, I've got a week.
There's some things that I'm almost willing to accept with VAR, but stop looking for reasons to disallow goals. The main thing that we love our game for is goals, right? It's that moment, that rush. Look, if someone's offside or it's black and white, fine. Yeah. But that is just searching for a reason. And if actually, you know, you think about the decision that we didn't get where Bassi was fouled by Yoro. If that's, I'm happy to like let goals like that stand in return for letting goals like Josh King stand today. Like, sure, did Yoro push Bassi? Maybe, but benefit of doubt to the attacker. That's what I just cannot get my head around. We're making the game worse.
Yeah.
We're not adding to the game. We're not applying fact and just all this nonsense. When Howard Webb will be on that stupid TV show trying to explain this in a couple of weeks and how it was definitely a careless challenge from Fulham number 9. And it's like, why? What are you trying to do to this game? Are you trying to make it better or worse? Because today you've made it worse.
Yeah, and he might go on that TV show and say, look, this is where VAR overstepped, but like, it's just not good enough. Like, it is just not good enough. The rules need to be applied consistently, and they were not today, and the game is worse for it. Like, it's so disappointing to come away from a game of football, and this is not the first time we felt it this strongly, but like it's definitely the first time in a long time. Come away from a game of football and just feel like the only talking point today was refereeing decisions. There's nothing else really to say because they were the story, they were the talking point.
And I think also at this point, you know, Robert Jones got a hell of a lot of flack from the Fulham fans today, and totally understandably so and totally justifiably so. But Michael Salisbury's in a room in West London, and he has looked at that first goal and said to the referee, I think you need to go and have a look at this. Now look, it is ultimately the referee who decides that. He's the one that looks at the monitor, and he could have the guts to overturn his VAR. But the VAR takes some responsibility as well as the referee. I mean, the rest of the game, Elizabeth, we were 2-0 down. We didn't really create an awful lot. We threw some subs at the situation. And maybe we could have done better, but I think like you're fighting an uphill battle anyway. You're facing a team that's been bought for £1 billion, that's got strength and depth that's incredible, that has got world-class athletes all over the pitch. Yeah. I think Fulham were the better team in the first half. I felt for us, 2-0 down, I almost was just a bit like, what can we do here? And given that also the sense of injustice in the air, I'm not coming away from this at all thinking that any Fulham player should feel like they could have done better today, because I just don't know if they could have.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no performance that I'm disappointed by. There's no player that I want to dig out. That is not the talking point, and that is the massive shame.
Obviously now we go into the international break, and nothing like having 2 weeks to stew over this as well, and a transfer deadline day. I really hope that by Monday Fulham just do something, because I think everyone just needs, especially after a lot of the headlines, you know, I mentioned at the start some of the quotes coming out of the club lately, and obviously Marco's fuming with what's going on. I just really hope for everyone's sake that we actually do something on Monday that cheers everyone up a little bit, because I think if we've got this result and we, I don't know, bring in a left back on loan from Bologna, like I think everyone's gonna give up.
Yeah, it is definitely a challenging one at the moment. It just needs something good to happen on deadline day. You know what I'm hoping for? I'd love a little bit of exciting winger Raheem Sterling on loan. I'll say that on the internet. But it is difficult, and it is tough to go into an international break after a game like this.
All right, well, thank you very much for watching today. Bit more ranty than you. In fact, it's actually better than I thought it was going to be, because at 90 minutes, I genuinely thought we might just like swear at the camera for the whole time.
I wanted to sack it off, I'll be honest.
Yeah, quite a lot of people came up to me afterwards like, are you on the quick take? I was like, yes, for my sins. Yes. Thank you for watching. Fulhamish will be back with a reaction podcast if you want more dissection on this, and then we'll have some content around transfer deadline day. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me, Sammy.
Have a great rest of your weekend. You whites.
You whites.